Welcome back to a new episode of Mastering Programming. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how we can create a stepper just like this, where you can click plus and the value of a number or the value will keep increasing, or you can click minus and it will also continue reducing. It will be a very quick tutorial and I'll show you exactly how to do it. It's very useful and I'm sure you'll need to use it in your app at some point. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, now as you can see, I've already got this app. It's using swiftUI and you can see all the code for all the values over here. Now, I won't go through the entire view. All we need to do is that between this line and this line, we need to create the stepper, or we need to create that value that we need, that view, sorry, that we need. Now, the first thing that I added, and let me just add it again, is at the very top of the project over here, let's create a new variable. And I'm simply just going to call it num steps, so number of steps, and this will be starting at 0, just like this. And then after that, I'll come over here where I need to create my stepper. Now you've got the option here to go like this and type stepper, and you'll be able to add drag and drop basically the stepper. You've also got some tutorials here on how you can use it. My favorite personal way of using it is simply the following. So I'll be coming over here and first I'll simply type in stepper. I'll open and close a zigzaggy bracket like this. Inside of here I'll be putting the text, and sorry, I think this is capital S, yeah. And inside of here all I'll need to do is say number of steps like this. Now after this you'll realize that it's giving us an error. So what I can do is I can come over here and I can say on increment, and for now let's just leave it empty, and then over here I can say on decrement, and again we'll leave the code inside of here empty. Now this will actually work. This is not going to show us any errors, but what we can do inside of here is we can write some code that works when the on increment, so this plus value is clicked, and then we can also write some code here so that when the minus one, the decrement one, works. Now you can go ahead and create the functions like I did over here. So I created two functions, one called increment step, so when this one's clicked, and one called decrement step. And what you can do is you can just come over here and provide that. So we can say increment stop, and over here we can say decrement stop step. You can also just simply pass like the code that you want inside of this. Now if I go ahead and run this, you'll realize that right now I'm clicking on it and nothing is happening, and that's because we're actually not displaying the value of num step at all. So what we can do is we can come over here and we can say num steps like this, and you realize that a 0 is showing up over here. And now as I'm clicking plus, the number is increasing because we're showing it over here. As I'm clicking minus, it will also keep increasing. And you can actually use this value, this variable, because we're using it throughout your entire view. So I can even just come over here and say num steps, and you realize that it's at the top, and as I'm updating it, it's updating everywhere because we're actually just updating this this variable. And so wherever it is being used, it's also going to be updated. Now, let's say, for example, you want to make this within a range. You can actually do that very easy. So let's say you want it to always be on top of 0. Well, let's have a look at how Apple does it. If you go ahead and click on this plus icon and we search up stepper, we'll find multiple different examples. And let me just increase this. Now, the first one is the one that I used. So this is how I've done it. But if we go further, it tells us that there's an example here where it's bound by a defined range. So we can create the range at the very top like this, so 1 to 50 for example, and then inside of the stepper we can provide in range. So let me show you how that would work in the example. So what I can do is I can actually just copy the entire thing like this. And instead of this stepper that we created, what I'll do is I'll actually paste this. Now we're gonna have some errors because it can't find anything. So what I can do is number of steps is our value. the range, let's define the range. So how did they define the range? Let's have a look. They define the range like this. So I'm just going to copy it. So they said from 1 to 50. I'm just going to make it from 1 to 10, for example. And the step, so this is how many times do you want it to increase by. I'm just going to say by 1. Now again, let's just update it for this. So I'm going to copy the value and let's go ahead and pass it over here. Oops, sorry. The number of steps, sorry. And we're going to pass it over here. And here we can just, because we're not actually defining it, we can say 1. Now let's give this a chance to just refresh, reload, sorry. And you can see that it says current is 0 in 1 to 10 stepping by 1. And as I'm increasing this, you can see that I go up to 10 and I can no longer go up. So current is 10 in 1 out of 10 stepping by 1. And you can see that it also updates here because we have over there. And if I reduce this, we can go all the way to 1 again, because that's the range that we defined. So we'll always be bound between 1 and 10. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this episode. I hope you learned a lot from it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Make sure you leave a like and a comment and let me know what I can do to make this tutorial much better and much more interesting. Thanks so much again.